Welcome to the one video that my friends told me that I absolutely should not make. Here we are. Okay, so today we are talking about how to make an If I Go Missing folder. And I know you're like, what is this? I know for a fact that none of you expected this out of me, and that's perfectly fine. This is out of my niche. This is out of my norm. Only the people that really know me would know that I am an avid true crime fan. I am obsessed with true crime. I love it. I listen to the podcast Crime Junkies every Monday. I am a fan club member, Patreon fan. I literally pay to hear extra content from them. If that's not a true fan, don't know what is. I am wearing their sweatshirt. I thought it would set the tone really well. So, why do you need an If I Go Missing folder? Let me tell you why. Because shit happens. And I know you're thinking, well, shit happens, sure, but shit would never happen to me. Let's hear some statistics. In 2019 alone, over 235,000 women under the age of 21 were reported missing. That's in 2019 alone in the United States. That's a lot of girls, a lot of little girls out there. And over the age of 21, over 63,000 women were reported missing. I don't know about you, but I don't like those odds. I know that proportionally it still seems unlikely, but at the end of the day, it's still better to be safe than sorry in my opinion, and I am a big advocate for personal safety and being your own advocate for your own personal safety, because no one has your back but you. So, here we go. What the heck goes in an If I Go Missing folder? The first thing you want to have in there is any login information to your phone and your phone's carrier. So, if you're on your parents' phone plan, don't worry about that. You're super freaking lucky. But if you're not on your parents' phone plan, you really want to have the login information to all of that. Why? They can see who your last call was to, who you've been calling lately, who you've been texting lately. They can read those text messages, and they can do that all without a subpoena, and that saves very valuable time. They can also see if you're still using your phone, which is very important as well. The second thing you should put in there is your iCloud password. If you have an Android, this doesn't apply to you. However, if you have an iPhone, this is very important. Your iCloud has the Find Your iPhone feature. This will help the police locate where your phone is, and if it's not on anymore, where it was last turned on. This can really help establish where you are. Also, having this Find Your iPhone information and the cell phone carrier information can help detect where your phone last pinged off of. And I understand that that just gives you a general location as to where, but having a general location and a radius is a lot better than wondering, well, they could be here, or they could be in Canada in a ditch. The next thing you want to have in there is all of the logins to your banking information and any credit cards you have. This is important to include because you can see if someone has used your debit card at an ATM, and if they did, then it's 2020, most ATMs do have a camera on it. You can see who they are, you can hopefully get a face, and you can get that face out to the media and say, hey, not a suspect, but a person of interest, this person is using a missing girl's credit card, or guy. Another thing they can do with a credit card is they can track and see if it was swiped anywhere, and if it was swiped, they can start to establish a path on where they may be going, what they're buying. If, let's say, they went to a Lowe's in Arizona, then they can send a squad out to that Lowe's in Arizona and see the video camera footage, who swiped the card, also hopefully to get a face. What did they buy? If they bought trash bags and a shovel and some bleach, then that's going to put a little heat on the police. Your future does not look all that bright from there. Hopefully it's not the case, but if it is, that's super helpful to know. The third thing you want to have in there is any messaging app logins or any dating app logins. If you still use Kik or WhatsApp, or you have like one of those apps that give you another phone number, just put the logins in there. No one really cares why you're on those apps. They just want to see who you were talking to, who they are. If you're using dating apps like Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or Grindr, or I don't know what you use. Hell, if you're on Christian Mingle, put the logins on there, because you don't know who those people are. You're on there to meet people. You're on there to establish connections. And I'm assuming that you are not already super close to these people and your family doesn't have their contact information. So it's very helpful for them to figure out who you were talking to and try to get some answers from that. The fifth thing you want to have in there is any identifying information about yourself. And I know this sounds super morbid because it is. But if they were to need to identify a body, then this is relevant information. So any tattoos you have, where are they? What do they look like? If you have any piercings, where are they? You're gonna want to put in your hair color, your eye color, your height, your weight. Another important thing to add into that section is any medical history. If you have one kidney because you donated a kidney, that's a pretty good way to tell who is who, you know? If you're diabetic, that's actually an important thing to put in. I highly doubt your kidnapper is giving you insulin. If they are, I guess you lucked out in the kidnapper lottery. Yeah, no, they're not giving you insulin. Any sort of chronic illness like that is just important to mention as a side note because, you know, that just adds a little bit of extra heat for the police. Another thing I added in is a paragraph or two just to whoever is opening this folder. Like some calming words like, stay calm. This is obviously a very unfortunate situation, but I really need you to be cool, calm, collected, and go report this. Please do not hesitate. I didn't run away. If you think I'm missing, I'm most definitely missing and it wasn't on my own accord. Mention very clearly in words that you were not planning to run away because that's a big question mark in the police's head always. Let them know that obviously this is a very unfortunate situation. However, you need them to get their boots on the ground, get things reported, and find you. Another thing I added was all of the local law agency information that they would need. So jurisdictions. It's important to have what jurisdiction you live in, what jurisdiction you work in, what jurisdiction you go to school in, any of that information so that they know which law agency they need to contact depending on where you were last seen. It's also very important to add in sort of the local procedures as to how to report a missing person. It's kind of hard to find this information. Sometimes they have it on the county website, sometimes you can find it from Crime Stoppers, but if all else fails, you can call your local police agency and say, hey, so if I were to report a missing person, how would I need to go about that? You're definitely going to get some questions, just a fair warning. But at the end of the day, it's better to be safe than sorry on that, and it's just some really good information because I know a lot of places want you to call the hospitals and the prisons before you can even report someone. And I know that there's a big misconception out there that you have to wait 48 hours before reporting anyone missing. That is so false. Get that in your head. That is false. You don't have to wait. There is no waiting time. Please, for the love of God, if I go missing, if anyone waits 48 hours to report it, I will hunt them. Another thing to add in along with the local agency information is that once you have a case number, you can request a public information officer. Now, what is a public information officer? I guarantee you don't know that. It is a designated officer that is the liaison between you, the police, and the press. So they make sure your name is out there, they make sure your face is in the media, they make sure that the media is getting updates, that they are getting your story out there so that more eyes are on your case, there's more urgency, there's more of a push from the public for the police to find you, and hopefully you will be found a lot faster. It helps get eyes on your case, and that is so important, and it takes such a big stressor off your loved ones. Another thing I really recommend putting in there is a list of people you are regularly in contact with and their contact information. So your coworkers, your best friend, any significant others, people you hang out with often, people that see you enough that they may know where you are. It's just something you want to add in there because I doubt whoever's looking for you has all of that information on hand, and they can't necessarily pull it from your phone in all cases because your phone might be with you or in a ditch. You never know. The last thing I recommend putting in there is a DNA sample. You can use a little bit of your hair. You can actually order a DNA kit off of the internet and put a cheek cell swab in there and keep it in your freezer so that they have a concrete sample of your DNA. I also recommend putting your fingerprints in there and a palm print on there just for comparison, because if you're not in the system already, then they're going to have a hard time obtaining those, and that just makes their life that much easier. It sort of alleviates that burden so that they can skip that step and get to finding you. If you made it through this entire video, congratulations on giving a shit about your personal safety. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. Once again, I'm going to say this for like the trillionth time this video. I think that everyone should have a folder. Take the time to make a folder. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. I am more than open about this stuff. I like to be very aware. I think everyone should be very aware. In the words of Britt and Ash, be rude, be weird, stay alive. Alright, bye guys. Thank you.